It's Wednesday, January 11th, 2022. I am watching the See the BS this morning, the Double Circle, which is related to CBS. And on it, and that's a local area in New York, on it they mention of this FAA thing they have going on with the FCC is alerting that the FAA has some computer glitch going on where they grounded all air travel as of this morning. I see that President Biden is meeting with Mexico and Canada for neighboring territories. I noticed on the larger image of the flag for Mexico, which I've never really studied in detail, it has this bird and then it has a snake in its talons. I'm reminded of a story about a young child in the mountains who had a bowl of milk. And he was there, and his mother was in the fields, and this child was put down while she was tending to the field with this one bowl of milk and one spoon to feed himself while Mama, was in the fields. And while she was there, two snakes came up, one on one side, one on the other, and they wanted to drink from the bowl of milk. So this child took the spoon and he bopped it over the head. And then he fed himself. He fed one and he fed the other. And if their heads came in, he would bop them with the spoon. True story, according to what I was told. So, with that being said, since that's the only reference that and the sanitation or the medical whatever, on that note, in like Les Enfants, there is this nurses strike today. Today's the third day. I was watching how and what they're speaking about with their union head, and then who has accumulated inside of the medical field at Montefiore, and then they moved to Mount Sinai. There's then the second day of strikes, and they give follow up at 4 p.m. as to one hospital walked off and the other hospital was still in talks. Again, more barriers to entry I've encountered while here. I mean, again, I'm topiary and an apiary, but here we are at things I was pursuing as a career after the crazy donkey problem. While President Biden's in Mexico, he's mentioning something about these classified documents with Canada there and the three flags, that his lawyers are taking care of it. So that is the three things that are going on at this point in New York City, though, in the circle. It looks like the nurses are striking. They've got some union. I saw there's today on the third day, there's some support from other unions coming in. It looks like regular news coverage.
The breaking news we were telling you about is affecting travelers this morning all around the country. Flights are being delayed nationwide today due to a computer issue, it seems, at the FAA. That's according to the agency. For more on this, let's bring in Chris Van Cleve. Chris, good morning to you. What do we know so far?
Well, Gail, this is the Notice to Air Missions. It's basically a safety alert system that gives airline pilots updates about where they're going, the situation between the airport they're leaving and the destination they're going to, things that are sort of developing in the moments leading up to the flight. It's a safety critical system that is not working properly, and that has forced the vast majority of flights scheduled to depart this morning to have to hold. I spoke with one of the major airlines. They indicate they're able to dispatch some aircraft manually, but that's a very intensive process. Planes that are in the air are able to continue operating. So if somebody is on an overnight flight, that flight's going to continue coming into its destination. Flights that left Los Angeles last night for Washington or New York, for example, that are approaching their airports. If you're heading to an airport this morning, prepare for delays and disruptions. The FAA says they are working to get the system back up, but that it's not fully operational at this time. And because it's safety critical, that's going to determine whether or not flights can resume in any sort of meaningful way, is getting that system back up and running.
They said, though, which I thought was really interesting, like as a keynote speaker, that there is this, they used to have to do it by like paper. Like there was like plans that the pilots had to, whatever. So the story goes. Before this computer system, I find that really interesting. Um, and then also in a theoretical hypothetical, Linda was watching this new show that's on TV. I absolutely despise it. It's called The Rookie FBI. Um, and it is something else. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, now this is not the FBI when the FBI began. And now it's taking on a whole new image. But now it seems like only a certain class is learning. I mean, like, so giving out these scripts and these tools to like a whole new audience. I mean, how do they keep anything private and separate? And then there's the whole travel where words and everything is traveling at the speed of light. That's now an issue. I mean, like, again, it's kind of like that Golden Globe winner where it's like bombardment at like everything's happening all at once. I mean, how does anybody keep details?
You have a statement from the FAA here where they are basically acknowledging that there is an issue, that they are working to get the system fully restored, this notice to air missions system. There does appear, as the FAA says, some functionality here. They've said earlier that they were working on repopulating their system. So with any luck, it will come back quickly. But, the morning really sets the tone for airlines. And so when you delay the first two batches of flights in the morning, people may feel this throughout the day today.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. Your phrase safety critical sticks with me. We want to make sure they get this right. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later on.
Now to President Biden's response to the documents marked classified found at his former office. Before his return from a trip to Mexico, Mr. Biden said he was, quote, surprised by the discovery, and the White House is fully cooperating with the Justice Department review. Republicans in Congress have launched their own investigation. Adriana Diaz broke this story, and she joins us with the very latest. Adriana, good morning.
Good morning, Vlad. One question lawmakers want answered is how much Mr. Biden knew about the presence of the roughly 10 documents and when. CBS News has learned the president was informed on November 2nd, the very day the documents were discovered, less than a week before the midterm elections.
People know I take classified documents and classified information seriously.
Tuesday, President Biden said he was surprised to learn classified government records were discovered in November at a private office he used after his vice presidency.
But I don't know what's in the documents. I've turned over the boxes. They've turned over.
Here's the
Over the boxes to the archives, and we're cooperating fully cooperating fully with the review, and which I hope will be finished soon.
A source tells CBS News Mr. Biden was informed the day the documents were discovered. Another source tells us the documents, which were found inside a box in a locked closet, had multiple levels of classification and included highly classified material. The Republican-led House Oversight Committee has announced it is launching an investigation and asked the White House for all documents retrieved from President Biden's personal office and a list of who had access to that office.
This happened November 2nd. Joe Biden said he would be the most transparent president in American history. Why are we just now learning this?
The inquiry is drawing comparisons to the investigation into former President Trump's handling of classified documents. In that case, more than 300 were recovered from Mar-a-Lago last year after Trump resisted multiple requests to turn them over. Trump Tuesday questioned the lack of disclosure, posting, "Why didn't the Justice Department announce the highly classified documents found in the Biden office before the election?" Democrats pushed back against any wrongdoing by Mr. Biden.
I mean, again, between this journalism piece and then these scripted training and teaching tools of what each piece and part does, but I don't know who's giving the allowance to put these things together and what agency they're modeling after. Again, it doesn't look like they're modeling after anything in New York. From like, my grandfather drove a tractor in Iowa, and there's a zip code of like my founding grandfather who had patriotic roots inside of this territory prior to my arrival. And then I have roots elsewhere. So it gets a little confusing when there was that level of patriotism, that level of land ownership, that level of like, it's a U.S. post zip code dedicated and named after my grandfather, still in and on the books today. That level of importance in buildings and masonry and whichever else. And then to have this now hyperspace, or this, I don't know, sociopathic, whatever they're up to, the humans, while leaving me out of this conversation, and even without asking me whether it's all right or not. I didn't say to hire a totally different modeling agency to go on television. I mean, like, they've completely ruined the original purpose of television with public service announcements. Now they're announcing that they're in these leagues. Where is this partnership and relationship? Where's the documentation? Where's the allowance? I mean, I've been here, I haven't been asked. Now, here's Eyewitness News at Noon, which is 507 ABC, WABC in New York. And this was from Monday, January 9th, 2023.
Instead of a counteroffer, it says the union chose to walk away.
While they claim that safe staffing is the major issue now, we had submitted to them a very robust staffing enforcement proposal, and we were waiting to get a counter on that, and we did not receive it at the time that they left negotiation.
But while the two groups remain at an impasse, the city's emergency management activated its situation room, and various agencies are working together to offset the impact this will have on patients.
So there was a situation room put together, emergency management kicked in, good things.
Hospitals are diverting ambulances, discharging some patients, canceling elective surgeries, and moving babies from the NICU.
What?
You watching the time?
Yeah. And as of Tuesday, January 10th, this was the update.
Afternoon to you. I'm Liz Cho.
And I'm Joe Torres in for David Navarro, and we begin this afternoon with the second day of the New York City nurses strike. Thousands of nurses at Montefiore Medical Center and Mount Sinai's main campus walked the picket line once again as the contract negotiations continue. Both sides indicated they are close to a deal at Montefiore.
It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken.